Life is like a hurricane here in Duckburg. Race cars, lasers, airplanes. It's a Duckburg. Might solve a mystery or rewrite history. DuckTales, woohoo. Daring tales of good and bad. It's DuckTales, woohoo. There's a danger lurks behind you. There's a stranger out to find you. What to do? Just grab onto some DuckTales. Woohoo. I don't remember all the rest. Hello, Surplus. Welcome to the stream. We'll be drawing some Freddy and friends. So, start the stream while we're getting people in here. DuckTales, woohoo indeed. Okay, so live stream, right? This is an update on the latest video. It's getting along pretty well. I actually had to, so this marker right here represents the chunk of the video I had to redo from scratch. Like everything from here onwards, plus this entire unedited chunk, all of that is new audio from the original script. Just because the original script was like, it was very hard to follow what I was talking about, and I didn't want to have that video become that, where people would get so focused on what they thought I was talking about versus what I was actually talking about, which was kind of confusing. Because I get that sometimes. Sometimes people are like, oh, that can't be that. And it's like, but I never said it was that. So yeah, the new video is actually making some pretty good progress. I've got, my guess is it's going to be about 17 minutes is my guess. Typically that's how much this audio boils down to. We're not doing that. We're doing Freddy and Friends today. We're going to be drawing, I'm going to be drawing updated art from the original panels. Just because the entire Froggy Day arc is done, so I'm going to be doing a cleaned up version of it, of the entire first arc, colorized. And then that also fixes some art errors that are in this first arc. Just slightly cleaner and neater, and have it all look nice. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, whoops. We're on the... What? Oh, there we go. Why is this huge? Actually, I just thought of a question. Do I want it larger or smaller brush size? Do I go for like the cleaner look or the anti-alias look? Or like the rougher look? Some stuff I'm going to keep the same way I draw, because I have certain things I do as shortcuts for like the art. So for example, every single Freddy's hat is just that. And then I put in the details. Where's the part where Freddy Fazbear gets deposited in the war in Afghanistan? You're going to have to look out for that one. I don't want to spoil anything. So you're just going to have to wait. Oops, wrong there. All of this is actually, you can actually see in this thing right here that I was heavily working off of the design traits of Freddy and Friends on Tour, kind of contorted to my own kind of design scheme. So we have, like, you can see a lot of it. Freddy's snout is actually almost unchanged. I just don't have the line here, and especially in this first page, it looks like. Yeah, it isn't until page 2 that I finally start giving Freddy his freckles. Bonnie, it takes me a while to kind of refine what I want him to look like. Ned Bear, I kind of drew planning to never draw him again, which is why he looks so ridiculous. Happy Frog turned out great, actually. Chica, I think this is about the time I figure out what I'm going to do with her design. I kind of want to leave this last panel on page. It looks nice enough and is way funnier without color. Ultimate Consequences might also be better unchanged, but then again, it might be cool to draw him and color him. I'm glad you like the videos, Roger. I hope I can get Freddy and Friends on the channel. Sadly, this is not Fortnite Planet. And by sadly, I mean thank God. This is actually one of the examples where I have to completely redo Bonnie's proportions because this is just wrong. Basically, any page that has the legs and it's kind of wrong right now. I'm still figuring out how the hell I'm going to do legs. I think Foxy's legs look fine. He kind of has the Mega Man proportions where like the legs get bigger as they go. But I think that's totally fine for them. This is like the only full body shot that looks fine, in my opinion. This looks properly cartoony. This is Freddy and Friends. This is the newspaper strip comic I've been doing. On the community tab, it's also on Comic Fury right now. You can read every single page here, including actually there's a page that's not even out yet. This is all you're gonna get a look at it. The next chapter is basically a Foxy chapter. Foxy and Freddy, I should say. Something I have to get better at is giving Freddy this kind of swaggle on his mouth. I don't always remember to give him that. And sometimes I handle his nose a little funky. Now, what's interesting about the Freddy and Friends design that's different from my version is the nose speckles are up here, whereas I put them back here. And then almost all the character eyes, I almost did a draft of Fox that didn't have this, but I decided to keep the conformity going. Almost all eyes are connected to their mouths. Chica might be the only exception sometimes. Let me look for how I draw Chica. Yeah, her eyes aren't connected. Her eyes get to stay separate. I just couldn't find a way to connect it to her beak because Toy Chica has such a small beak that like adapting that design into this cartoony style felt really weird. And Freddy and Friends Chica I don't think has. Whoops. Yeah, she doesn't really. She kind of does. Her beak's so much more pronounced. They're all a lot more rotund in this design in general. There's some rules because like classic cartoon characters have a lot of hardcore rules that their character designs follow. That I'm still kind of trying to parse out what my rules are going to be. Like, for example, this brow right here. Does it obscure the ear or not? It's something I'm figuring out. I'm kind of settling on whatever ear's facing us is unobscured, but whichever one isn't facing us is covered by the brow. Freddy's also one of the only characters right now that has no neck. Figuring out hands has been really hard for me right now, because it's not even just like normal hands are already hard to draw. Like, I kind of have to do that to kind of like. And even then, and then I gotta do that for like every finger. And that's me trying to do it big. So like, in the worst thing's hard to do, but then I've got to apply that to cartoony bear hands, and it's like really funky. I'm trying to give them, because here's the thing, cartoon characters don't follow perfect anatomy, but they do follow some level of it. Like, there is anatomy to a cartoon character, as weird as that is. But kind of figuring out when to break it and when to blend it is kind of odd. That's what I've been working on. Yeah, we're doing Undertale music. There's not really FNAF music I want to use for the stream. It will also become Deltarune music after a while if we get far enough. Undertale is just like peak thinking music that isn't copyrighted, or that won't get you struck down. Uh, Toby Fox voiced a character in We Baby Bears, which is one of the funniest, like, strange things that's ever happened. He plays like a skeleton boy who gets like stuck at sea. And I know nothing about We Baby Bears. I watched a bit of We Bear Bears to like, not to get the jokes and like the characters. What's funny is he's just like there and then he like disappears. It's kind of like uncanny where it's just like, oh, there he goes. I'm kind of going for this blocky thing with their fingers. I don't... Do they? Yeah, they kind of have that going on here. They have very sharp angles in the Freddy and Friends art style. They also have details I don't really do. Let me try that, actually. I might do that for the polish designs. That might look nice. I also gotta make sure something I do. They don't really do in the Freddy and Friends art style is they don't do the, like, if I were to do it, they would have the sharpened claws. Bonnie doesn't have them though. Bonnie and Chica don't have sharpened claws. Foxy and Freddy do. That's kind of my design scheme rule right now. Wow, Freddy just doesn't have his buttons here. I think the reason I did that was because he doesn't have the buttons in Freddy and Friends. But I think I just settled on it, so I'm going to do that for consistency. I also try to make his bow tie very pronounced. His buttons and bow tie are some of the things that get true black coloring, which I'm trying to keep consistent even between designs. There's going to be off-model stuff even with the polished art, though. I'm not good at keeping models right now. That's something I'm trying to practice and get better at. I do look forward to explaining some of the jokes that aren't that obvious. Because some of the jokes are, like, kind of rely on you knowing just FNAF culture in general. So I'm like, yeah, I could easily see people missing them if you haven't been following the franchise for the past few years like I have. And some of them are kind of niche, like, how would you know them if you weren't me? I've tried to make them as obvious as possible. I don't think it's as funny if only I get them. Freddy does have a tail. I don't think I forgot to draw his tail yet. Chica's tail, though, vanishes every now and then. She also has a... This is one of those things that just change model sheet-wise. They don't have model sheets, but this is just something I change about her design is... This is the only time she has the bib. In every other appearance of her, her iconic bib is changed to like a crop top. Or, yeah, crop top is what it would be. Which I'll fix when I'm done drawing Freddy here. Something I'm trying to settle on, though, as I draw this, is how I'm going to do the eyes moving forward. And the weird pink fox joke is probably going to work way better. Once Foxy's colored. Because it's not really obvious if you don't know this is supposed to be the toy gang, but like early versions of them when they're still figuring out what the brand will be. So like Freddy's still kind of classic Freddy, even though he's sort of a bit grouchier. Not grouchier. There's that kind of energy that Toy Freddy has that's like a little less sincere and optimistic that the AR Classic Freddy has. Like AR Classic Freddy's like basically slightly more developed Eeyore combined with Barney. He's like the no, everything will be fine. Like, he has very much that energy to him. Whereas Toy Freddy's like, God damn it, I fucked up again! Like, he very has that energy. Uh, you know, like, so this Freddy's kind of a hybrid. He's kind of, there is this genuine, like, level of intelligence and, like, wisdom to him that he's going to have. But then there's this kind of snappiness where he's like, I'm going to sue you. Like, he outright just sues Ned Bear for existing. Ned Bear isn't even a ripoff of him in this universe. He just sues him for looking like him. Hi, Daylove Bunny. Oh, Chica Meets Hippo is one of the funny... Like, that was something I was sitting on the entire... I have so many jokes I sit on for this comic. Hi, Titan. For this comic in particular. Like, some of the jokes I've literally been waiting years to tell, and I never really had a vessel to tell them in. Like, I never had iterations of these characters that were kind of mine to work with. Kind of trying to emulate a Times New Roman. Like, basically, like, any Foxy joke in this is something I've been wanting to do forever. I would definitely sue anyone with the same hair color as me. That's this Freddy's energy. Which is kind of funny, because everyone has a bow tie in this universe. And, weirdly enough, Ned Bear is, like, the one character who doesn't have a bow tie. Or something like that. Like, other than Chica, who has her bib. I'm not going to do actual text on these. So it's funny that he sues him in the comic to me, because that he's like the one person who isn't violating the style. I don't think I used the actual FNAF 1 chairs as a reference for this. Though I probably should have, actually. I should probably take more notes from, like, what the canon designs of the pizzeria are. So, what are we looking at now? That's pretty solid. I do want to borrow the colors I use. Because I like the color palette I settled on for Freddy. Because I was kind of torn between inverting his color palette, like Toy Freddy kind of has. Oh, I actually will touch on Freddy. Ever thought doing Squawks PNG tuber, or you make yours? I mean, I already am a PNG tuber. I already have Sire Squawks. I might do more expressions for Editor Squawks one day. Hello, Lord of the Saber King. Fredbear is funky in this. Fredbear. So the idea, the kind of lore of the comic, right, or of the newspaper strip right now, is that it was developed by a company called Yellow Bear Productions. That's the name I'm working with so far. Oh, whoops. I just realized I screwed up. I'm still adding touches in the line art layer, in the color layer. What? Robot Kids? Phasgo, Mimic, books. Come on, dude. FNAF 4 just released. Actually, FNAF 4... I would take the Mimic over FNAF 4. I do not like FNAF 4 much at all. It might be my least favorite FNAF game, period. It does kind of nothing good for the lore. It just kind of, like, a lot of... The Bite Victim might be one of the least important characters in all of FNAF collectively. Like, people like, shit on FNAF 2 for being irrelevant, but, like, it back checks and gives us a lot of timeline things. Like, something I talk about in the new video is that we know William survives until 1987 because he's still around in FNAF 2. So it gives us some decent timeline things to work with, like, oh, no, this can't be in that order because that has to happen later. But FNAF 4, like, the bite victim is kind of only important to the context of FNAF 4 and the background of the Aftons. He's basically just a setup for every other character. Anyway, to get back to what I was originally talking about with Fredbear, so the lore of the comic is that it's basically there's a studio called Yellow Bear Productions. They're in charge of doing Freddy and Friends, and they have to reboot it for the launch of the toy animatronics, basically. They're basically, for the first time ever, after like years of being like under William's reign as the kind of guy in charge of the Freddy's brand, are allowed to do whatever the fuck they want. So they just start taking everything in really weird directions. Which is kind of my excuse to give myself more freedom for the comic. That it's like this weird kind of rogue animation company that, like, I guess the idea I'm going with is that William is like deep into his killer phase, so he's not running the company anymore, really. That's kind of the idea I'm running with for this. But they're running out of money for the animation because they keep going so fucking hog wild for everything. If they just start syndicating their storyboards as comics... Yinadu appears in Neon Dynamo. I can't... Hold on. Yinadu is in a comic, but it's in Neon Dynamo. Let me pull up Chapter 8. Because Yinadu... is this Yinadu's page? No. Yinadu! Fan favorite character Yinadu, Yak Dizzle. No, that's where Yinadu appears. Yendo actually will appear in Freddy and Friends. Don't worry about the Among Us A. It's not real. It can't hurt you. But so the idea is like it's this kind of weird mirror of what we think of the Freddy's characters from this company that's just been doing whatever the hell they want for like it's implied that this show runs like way past the toy animatronics and just keeps going. There's like a lot of weird ideas I've been toying with just to do my own story and kind of what I would do if I had the FNAF characters like officially or whatever. So like it's implied already in the comic. Papa Fredbear always said to stop pests you need help from pests. Which implies Fredbear is Freddy's dad in this. Any fan game characters gonna appear in the comics? Maybe in backgrounds, but not officially. Because that opens up like a lot of can of worms, storytelling wise. That I'm a little nervous about, like implying candies exist, for example, like canonically. Too much implies that restaurant exists, and that raises questions about Vinny, the fucking other puppet for the Candies universe and all that. So I don't want to do it. There's apparently a one frame where his hand closes his mouth. That's interesting. Michael does have a role in Fred the newspaper, but it's a really roundabout way. So you know how I mentioned this is something they did they reused their storyboards from episodes of the show and cannibalized them into a newspaper. That's like the lore we're running with, right? So it's the person who gave them permission to run hog wild. So like, who in the FNAF universe would approve someone going batshit with the Freddy's characters? And it's probably the character who's most associated with cartoons, and that would be Michael. Because so the idea is Michael's the one who, like, fucking rigged the show to be able to do whatever it wants. That's kind of my lore I'm running with. So, like, Mike just said, like, basically backdoored them getting permission to do whatever the hell they wanted. Using nepotism. I do like this coloration. This is very Garfield coloration. Okay, let's fix his eyes so he isn't bleeding in the eyes a bit. So Fredbear is in this in-universe continuity, Fredbear is Freddy's dad. That's kind of weird. Classic Foxy is Mangle Foxy's uncle. That's going to be a plot point later that we haven't seen yet, or at least I haven't put in the comic yet. Because I still want Mangle Foxy to be a pirate, so that's still going to be in the comic. I mean, they still have their hook, so it's not like it's out of nowhere or anything. And the biggest thing I was struggling with is how the fuck do I handle Spring Bonnie if I ever want to talk about him. But in the oh yeah, he's drinking ketchup. Yeah. Family tree. So actually, I'm going to acknowledge. So Chica's just like some girl they hired to be the singer. That's all her lore is in this. There's no original Chica. But Bonnie is some, like, I guess, like, overseas kid who came over to the U.S., or not the U.S., the equivalent of the Fazbear U.S., looking to, like, live up to the legacy of Spring Bonnie. So he's just, like, a fanboy of Spring Bonnie in this, who Freddy hired because he's like, maybe he does have the magic to capture the originals, like, deal. So Spring Bonnie and Bonnie are separate characters in this. Bonnie is just like a fanboy of Spring Bonnie, who is named after him officially. Like, and then Chica's just separate. Freddy's just Fredbear's son. Humans are in the newspaper because Balloon Boy is, and Baby will be. Baby's, like, I already know what Baby's kind of role in the story arc, because there's going to be a story. It's not just going to be nothing but gags. The classic Foxy chapter is probably going to be the first really. There's kind of two serious chapters I have planned. I just realized I did Chica's hair completely wrong here. Like, let's pull up. This is how it's supposed to look. It's supposed to look like her in-game hair, just like this. Anyway. USF, the United States of Faz. I might do that. It's implied. Okay, here is a sad kind of canon plot point for this. It's implied Fredbear and Spring Bonnie aren't alive anymore. I don't like this beak. I'm just going to make it so it's not visible at all. Yeah, OG Chica never happened. In this continuity, Toy Chica is the OG Chica, basically. Basically, think of the classics and the toys being one set of characters, with the exception of Foxy. He's like a separate character in this continuity. In fact, the weird way to think about this is that classic, like, Mangle is basically the original Foxy in this universe, which is what's weird about it. In fact, I announced this project a while ago. I never got around to, like, really doing it, and I plan to now that the Freddy and Friends comic exists. So if you pull up, sorry, Flowey. Wait, that's not Flowey. So if we pull up the latest issue, this was my first clue to Ozzy's role. So there's a project I'm going to do called Ozzy the Owlbear, who is the in-universe person restoring all the newspaper art. What? So yeah, Ozzy is the canon preservationist of this newspaper. So yeah, Mangle / this is an art error. It's kind of not, because this is a gag I'm saving. So you know how it's canon that Foxy isn't missing an eye, he just has an eye patch for the sake of it? Uh, this kind of spoils a gag I've been planning, but I think I'm just going to run with it, that Foxy canonically can just take off their hook anytime. Or at least the new Foxy can. Or the new Fox. Mangle. What we call Mangle, they're just Foxy in this universe, because Mangle is an out-of-universe term. Well, it's in-universe, it just is, like, it's a cruel nickname for the trash pile that Mangle actually is. But in-universe, like the official Fazbear brand, they're just Foxy too. Basically, I think the idea I'm running with is that, like, this was their... Because remember, the whole point of FNAF 2 is that they're trying to rebrand to, like, get some faith back. So I don't think it's absurd at all. I think they have to in universe. Otherwise, they have no brand. This is something I struggle with so much. I might just do what I did originally here. I couldn't figure out how to do her tail, because she has a pronounced tail in the official Freddy and Friends thing from Steel Wool. So doing the tail feather something else out a lot. I also decided to give her a skirt because I just did not like the idea of, like, drawing it like this. I don't... That looks so weird, and it's so not... Like, that would not air on TV in the 80s. The 80s is so... Yeah, I just couldn't see it. To say it's prude is kind of exaggerating, because they did push a lot of boundaries in the 80s, actually. The 80s was kind of the beginning of the pushing boundaries phase of, like, cartoons and animation and all that. But I just don't want to draw a chicken in a thong. It's not that I don't want to, I just don't think they would. So I gave her a skirt and I gave Mangle shorts. Any canon ships? Not really. I think the idea I'm working with is just that Fazbear didn't want there to be canon ships. Like, they do still have some level of authority, and they're just like, nah, you can do... I'm functioning on Ghost Stories logic here. Like, if you don't know what happened with the Ghost Stories dub, Ghost Stories was an anime that's basically Japanese Scooby-Doo. It was so, like, mediocre performance-wise in Japan that when they brought it over to the US, they were just like, fuck it, do whatever you want. As long as you keep the way the ghosts are defeated the same, and the moral of each episode the same, you could do anything. So they made it like they basically made it South Park. It swears that they insult, like, every culture and race or identity or thing. Anything you can be, they insult equally. Like, South Park Ghost Stories is one of the funniest dubs of all time, because they were like, we can't come off as genuinely racist or homophobic, so we're just going to insult everyone. So I think of it like that, where it's like there are some rules they have to follow. They can't break what, like, Freddy can't kill a man in this, for example. Time traveling ball pit. I might do a joke about that. Here's probably the biggest character who is set to appear and be really important, in fact, is RWQ. Yeah, they did a dubbed version of the English dub of Ghost Stories. It's back to Japanese because it was such a different experience. Because I don't see there being a kinship between the characters, really. That's... Yeah. I just don't see that. Like, it just kind of feels weird for, like, the Fazbear brand, based on what we know about them. Especially for, like, the super squeaky clean, kids-friendly, like, phase of the brand. Even if this is, like, its own kind of thing, where they've run off and done whatever they wanted for the characters. Especially so RWQ canonically will appear. Or RWQSXF Shadowani will canonically appear, and it's implied Michael's the one who got him into the show. In fact, let me actually just list off like characters I have planned that haven't appeared yet. Bubba is actually going to be in Cold Cheese. He's actually might be the next strip I draw as Bubba's. Can Freddy kill a bear because of the implied bear extinction? Is that what Ned Bear did when he couldn't? When he realized he couldn't? The baby. That's a very funny idea. But there are a lot of gags I might have to save for Ozzy, because Ozzy will appear on the channel. I've already drawn his entire PNG tour. So yeah, Bubba's going to appear. He's in the next chapter. I've literally already like planned out his gag. El Chip will appear. I have a gag planned. I'm just trying to figure out how to do it tastefully, for lack of a better term. RWQ's plan to appear. Shadow Freddy might have at least one appearance, and basically all of the fun times appear, but they're going to be kind of different because it's really hard to do the fun times because they're like I can. So it's implied that Mangle's Foxy's named after Captain Foxy, the pirate one, the classic red Foxy. That's the implication of how I explained they have the same names, and Bonnie's named after Spring Bonnie. Because that happens. Like, how many people were named Ringo after the Beatles existed? Like, that's totally something that happens. That's very bright yellow. I might tone that back. She just has the bright red cheeks, right? I might go with that. That's gonna be the color of it. I'll just give her white, because that's all the coloration is in the games. So yeah, her shirt's just gonna remain white. I'm trying to reuse colors because that's something I do in classic shows. There's some things I want to add that I'm like, how the fuck do I add that? Because RWQ and Foxy are kind of the main villains of the series right now. If you can consider them villains, they're very strange characters right now. And I guess Monty's also kind of an antagonist in the series, from what I've planned so far. Monty has a big chapter I'm planning. I think the joke I'm planning with El Chip is that he doesn't speak English at all. So no one knows how to interact with him other than Foxy, who speaks Spanish but doesn't speak. That's kind of the joke I have planned for El Chip right now. Mushroom Man? I don't even know what to do with him. Some of the characters that exist in like the books, I have like, how do I do that? Springtrap's weird. I don't know how you do Springtrap in the 1986. How would you relate a gator to frogs? I don't know how you would do that. But oh, obviously Roxanne's going to appear. That's kind of a given that Monty's going to appear. Because I'm trying to stick to like what could be characters that would be show exclusive until Security Breach. Like, hey, there's these characters on the show we never used. That's like been a running sentiment in the community a lot. Like, that's in the undeniably true timeline. The idea that and this is just a general theory that's existed, is that the mediocre melodies and like other characters of things that appear in the show, and the other way around, where it's like, oh, maybe Freddy and Bonnie and Chica and all of them appeared first in the show, and then when Fredbear and Spring Bonnie go out, they're replaced and made the new mascots. Okay, the main thing I had to... The reason I didn't just imply Fredbear and Bonnie are the same Fredbear and Bonnie as Fredbear and Spring Bonnie, or Freddy and... Like, the reason I didn't do that, because I thought about having a joke of, oh, I had a blonde face and that's what Fredbear is. That was a joke I thought of. I'm like, what's an 80s sounding joke? That sounded like one, but the main reason I had to make it so they couldn't be the same character is because in FNAF 4, both Fredbear and Freddy appear on Freddy and Friends, in the images we see. So it implies inherently that they coexist, that they're two separate characters. And I was just like, how do you do that since they're basically the same character? So the whole like family connection thing is what I thought of for that. But interestingly, Spring Bonnie doesn't appear in the Freddy and Friends cartoon that we see, which is really strange. I'm still not sure what the hell that's up with. Like, it's strange that he's like the only character in that time period who doesn't appear. Bum. Fredbear goes to the dentist in episode Rise. Hello, Perfectolini. I've been thinking of like how I could do other Chicas potentially. The issue is like, once again, it's like it took me a while to figure out the Spring Bonnie to Bonnie connection. I'm like, how would I work in the other Chicas potentially? I'm still yet to figure out one where I'm like, that sounds like a cool thing, or like, because what's the point of a lore if you're not going to do something with it? Is kind of something I've been thinking about a lot. This was something I kind of got stuck on with Neon Dynamo for a while. Like, why introduce something if you're not going to do something with it? It's kind of something I think about. But Freddy's head is huge, I just realized. In this page. It's fine. Freddy cloned himself and painted himself yellow to sue him later. Like, so like, working in the other Chicas, and you don't want to do it the same thing, like, every time. Oh, this is my younger sister, also named Chica. Like, that's really weird and stilted, kind of. And it's like, if you're not going to do, like, because there's this running implication that Bonnie... I'm trying to add some depth to, like, the personalities we do get from them, and, like, so I want to do something kind of with Bonnie being a little nervous that he's not quite living up to, like... Because, like, I made the Ringo Starr connection earlier, because that is what I kind of think as these two characters. Like, Spring Bonnie is, like, this classic guitarist. Not that Ringo's... Is Ringo the guitarist, actually? I totally forgot. Ringo Starr. What did he do? He was the drummer, that's right. I totally forgot what position he played in the Beatles. But, like, let's say Ringo was the guitarist. He would be like that in this universe. Like, he is a classic musician in this universe that Bonnie is trying to live up to because he's named after him, and basically works for the guy who's the spiritual successor to Fredbear, who is the guy who worked with Bonnie, or Spring Bonnie. And then Freddy kind of has that where he has to live up to Fredbear's legacy as like this amazing entertainer who's like almost Walt Disney in this universe, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, alligators are borderline dinosaurs, and dinosaurs are birds. So that's why it's really hard to link those together, which is why I was saying, like, that is the kind of shit I would do in this. But not everyone needs a family connection. What's weird is Chica is by far the most different between interpretations, I would say. Like, I feel like Rockstar Chica and, like, Glam Rock Chica are almost complete opposite characters that coexist as, like, the Chica, which is so weird. To think about. Like, they're both the respective, like, definitive Chicas of their groups, but they're so different from, like, the prior Chica, and then, like, neither of them really have the food. Oh, well, Glamrock Chica has the food thing, but it's not like... Yeah, I guess she does. Now that I think about it. But, like, other than the food thing, what does Rockstar Chica... Like, what does Glamrock Chica have in common with, like, original Big Yellow Chica? Etc. Like, there's a lot of weird things to think about, like, these are the same characters. I don't even remember where that tangent was going originally. Glamour Chica would use Chica's credit cards to somehow convince someone that they're the same person. That would be a funny... Wait, actually, that might be what I do. Glamrock Chica's just an identity theft artist who's really bad at it because she looks completely different. That would be a really funny way to... She's just an identity theft artist. Remember, she was once yellow. Maybe I'll do, like, the classic 80s thing and have, like, a chemical spill that makes them look different. Oh, let me make this real authentic to... Okay, let's do it this way. I'm trying to figure out... I don't really know how you're naturally supposed to do this. Does that work? What does that do if I apply that filter? Just really do what I want. Okay, that will work. This is a very common comic tone thing. So when does Bonnie break the laws of time? I might have that as a gag. Oh, the nightmares are going to be in the comic, by the way. They have a very specific explanation tied into, like, the kind of grander plotline. Trust me, the nightmares are going to be important. There's even going to be a joke about one of them. In particular, not being canon, like, in-universe, like, being a cut character. Yeah, the two-tone allows me to do the no background things, kind of adapted. The frogs are the worst thing in this chapter, by the way, drawn art-wise. Like, I had some inconsistent off-model things, or I don't draw the characters quite properly, and that's something I get better at, I think. I get to the point where you can, like, I break the model only a few times. But, like, the frogs in this chapter never look right. They are so derpy, and that's kind of the bit. With them, like, that's kind of part of the joke, but like, no frog looks proper. What's good? Isaac Newby, welcome. Oh, if anyone's gonna kick Shin, that's gonna be Foxy. I will say, hopefully it doesn't turn out bad because of this. I do have a lot of bias towards the Mangle Foxy in this. They're like the character I've been wanting to write for the longest time. Which is funny because they're mute. They never talk in this. And that's part of the bit. And the canon reason is not even the animation studio that, like, ends up making these newspaper images knows the gender of this Foxy. I mean, I can't do the human-robot gag because Balloon Boy exists. Balloon Boy's just Balloon Boy, and Dee Dee and JJ will appear. And maybe XOR. I'm split on XOR, though, because they're another kind of, like, how do you do them? Kind of thing. And I have an idea for them. Fly to eat. There's some gags that's like, how the hell do you make that happen in the universe without them knowing about our universe? Phasgoo? Phasgoo would be fun. Don't use all your mobile data. Don't fall into the trap. Don't let capitalism win. Don't drain all your Faz tokens just to watch the stream. Use Starbucks' internet. Break into Starbucks. I don't care where you are. I don't care if you're at school right now. Break into Starbucks to watch the stream if you're going to do that. Don't actually. I mean, how do you break into a place that's operational? Like, if a store is open, how do you break in? Can you be charged with breaking into a place if the store is open and, like, operational? I guess you could go out of restricted areas. Phasgoo and the Mimic team up to overthrow Freddy Fazbear. That would be a funny plotline, but who knows if it happens. So, fun fact, the entire joke of frogs taking over the Pizzaplex was unintentionally created by Tito. I was asking him, like, what... I wanted to do this project, like, a long time ago, before even the Sire Squawk thing really started. Like, before the channel as a theory channel existed. I mean, it was still there, like, I still had the channel, obviously, because that's a 6-year-old channel I just started putting my theories on. But he was like, I don't know, frogs take over the pizzeria. And I was like, cool, I'll run it. And then I was like, and I never had a joke for it. And then that led to the Froggy Day joke, which led to the Freddy and Friends newspaper. And I'm like, I want to do more of this after I drew that. Because that was supposed to be a one-off thing. then I was like, maybe I can adapt this project I've always had in my mind to something. And then I did that into the newspaper. The rock stars are the ones I have no clue how to incorporate. Because they exist after, so it's already kind of weird to have them earlier. And once again, they're just kind of the versions they already are. So it's like, other than Roxy, Rockstar Foxy would probably be the most noticeable change because he is an antagonist in this. He's basically the hamburglar of this, for lack of a better term. Even though he's a bit more serious of a threat than a hamburglar. The r/FNAF theories. Finally someone talks about this because I've been waiting to talk about r/FNAF theories and I've never had an excuse to. Because it would be kind of out of pocket, talk out of nowhere. That is the equivalent of Freddy Twitter on Reddit. It is such a cesspit of I don't think I've seen many FNAF theory threads that aren't extremely one-sided in their tone. They are very pronounced in favor of one person or the other. If people agree with it, it's going to be down completely one-sided in agreement of whatever the person's saying. And if it's not, it's completely dismissed. It is such a binary state of theorizing as a subreddit. Yarg, you win some, you lose some. Just like my money, I'm broke. That's all Freddy's. If I ever get whenever I get around to doing the dub for these, I guarantee you that's all Foxy's going to sound like. It's like you win some, you lose some, yeah, bah, 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 bah. And then other Foxy will just be like, and then the scene will move on. Do 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 be do 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 do. I do think I'll have the Foxy and the parrot in there. I don't know exactly who I'm going to give it to, because I could give it to the Mangle variant to kind of support the theory that Mangle's second head comes from an unused parrot animatronic. That was a classic FNAF 2 theory to explain why Mangle has two heads. Okay, here's the thing. You could say Reddit that's just like the description I gave of FNAF theories is just Reddit in general, but it's not like that on Freddy. Reddit theories are so much more balanced in their reception, how they're treated, noticeably. Oh, it's... So sorry. I'm gonna cheat here. I can cheat. Behold my genius. She's looking through the window. Yeah, the parrot would be really big. The children crafted the head themselves. So we have page 1. Done, kind of. You see, an arm is actually a leg. So time travel ball pit is actually a parallel hyperverse. It was a solo Amtron before becoming a... Oh, we're going to get to the May 32nd gag, eventually. Or that's not even an intentional gag, that was genuinely just a mistake that I thought was funny, so I left it in. Chat Parrot cannot canonically appear, because... for various reasons, but he cannot canonically appear. Oh god, I have to actually draw the frogs now. I have to color them. Wow, I drew the floor here. I forgot I did. Oh my god. I totally forgot. One of them has a hat. I'm sorry, I'm drinking some water. Lolbit Yendo, Security the Owl. God, if I can get Zangle in there, Zangle 2. There's a bunch of characters that are like really weird ones that I want to get in there. I do know how Lolbit will appear. Sadly, they won't appear for a while. Draw a Happy Frog. We'll get there in a second. Oh, she's one of the few characters that doesn't have the connected eyes either. I think she might be one of my favorite designs they did, to adapt her animatronic design into like a Freddy and Friends character. Hippo also transitions really well. Old Man Consequences was another funny one to get in there. I just love that his name's Old Man Consequences inexplicably in this. Virtua Freddy might be... I might have like a... Maybe I'll do like a chapter where Freddy gets like addicted to a video game and is stuck playing as Virtua Freddy. That might be the funniest way to incorporate Virtua in there. Because these other ones, like, how do you work him in? Because he's such a specific context that like doesn't really make sense. It is a physical character. Like, the lore of RWQ is going to be weird in this. Kind of as a necessity. because he's just such a strange. Like the idea of just a shadow rabbit, in general, is like really weird outside of the context of normal FNAF games. So like a lot of the characters are hard to incorporate that I've been trying to figure out. Like, what do you do to get them in there that makes it feel like a part of the universe and not just something you pull because you want to be a FNAF fan, which I think is an important part of it. Because I think if the more I pull for the sake of fan service without a good reason, the less it feels like an authentic thing, and then if it's not authentic, there's kind of less and less of a point. Honestly, the closest thing to Screentrap in the comic is probably going to be Lolbit. I would say, boom, boom. God, I love the core themes. RWQ is probably what I would consider the main villain, but he kind of has to ramp up as he goes. And like his stuff kind of starts small, honestly. Like, there's an interesting theory about the bonnet being Yendo's plushie. The bit I was going to do with... So, to kind of spoil it, Yendo will be the name of basically Funtime Freddy in this. Because, fucking, how do you work in an endoskeleton bear? So, Yendo is just going to be Funtime Freddy, basically, with a kind of mishmash of their color palettes. Like the pronounced yellow eyes of Yendo, but he's still going to be basically Funtime Freddy. The bit I was going to do with him is just that he has swappable, like he just keeps swapping out hand puppets. Like he's this is going to show a bit of nerddom. If you watch any of the kind of mixed quality Beyblade Burst anime, one of the kind of cooler characters in that is named Ken, and he almost exclusively talks through hand puppets. And he's one of the more interesting characters in it. They made how he talks and interacts is interesting. I'm gonna draw you a separate way. Turn the freaking frog's gay. What frog? Which frog is crying? No, this is just how this is actually... Goats and frogs have this weird eye shape. Like that. It's really weird. Like the way their pupils work. I want to make him way sillier. I might unironically use this riff for... Hi, Dr. Kitten. The entrance of Monty. That particular guitar riff is such the energy Monty's going to have in this. So the only completed episode after Cold Cheese that I'm like, I know every page of this. Yeah, he's becoming smarter. It is called Big Bad Bully, and that's Monty and kind of RWQ's debut. They're irrespective. They're completely separated in the chapter, like how they just happen to both be in that chapter. With that alone, you might be able to get some ideas of what that plot's going to be. I think that's also where the Spring Bonnie lore drop is. There's another one I don't have a name for yet. That's the explanation of how Mangle meets this group, because they're clearly a different character. Because they're not even a band member in this. They're just the groundskeeper in this continuity. Basically, they're a hired muscle. Or like a roadie, almost. That's not to say they'll never play instruments and never perform in the band. That's just not their job in this universe. Mangle, because they're not in actual FNAF 2. They're not a band member. You can yes, it's basically an adaptation of the whole Monty and Bonnie rival thing. And you can probably guess what RWQ's role is going to be from that episode when that drops. Oh, there's another episode I do know the name of that's just called Foxy Foxy, as a reference to the FNAF 2 challenge. That's not even a real spoiler. Say, oh, that's the one where Classic Foxy appears. Surprise, surprise. Mangle has no insurance. No, Bubba doesn't. Poor Bubba. Every time chat accidentally stumbles on a gag, I'm just going to subtly hint it. So, tomorrow's Freddy and Friends page, it's already up on Comic Fair if you want to read it a little early. From Cold Cheese. Is one of the ones I've been sitting on forever, that Mangle canonically just walks through a snowstorm for something very trivial. Originally, it was going to be them buying a paddleboard, but then I already kind of did that in this chapter. Gigamonty actually is kind of in the comic, in a really roundabout way. That is also something that's going to take a while to pay off, but that joke will be in there, kind of. I'm actually excited for that bit, because it's such a niche call-out if you're not a Spiff fan. Like, if you don't know... Oh! If you don't know much about Security Breach, it's going to be really weird. If you don't know about Astral Spiff, it's going to be really weird. And you have to know specifically about this bug in Security Breach that creates Gigamonty. Dude, the actual track Undertale in the game is such a great song for, like, just emotionally conveying the point. I've been trying to figure out what I want to do. So Neon Dynamo has copyright neutral OSTs I use. I'm trying to think about what I want to do for Freddy and Friends OSTs. I think I'm going to just use tracks that feel at home. Like, unironically, Foxy's music track might just be Piccolo's theme from Dragon Ball, like the Japanese theme. Yes, it will transition to the Deltarune soundtrack. Yeah, I'm so glad they've never patched out Gigamonti. He is one of the funniest bugs ever. Because he's like... Because, like, none of the animatronics in Security Breach are really a threat. Like, in practice. A lot of the threat of Security Breach is more just having to do something over again. But, like, Gigamonti is a real threat. If Monty was genuinely that hard, or, like, or Shattered Monty was, I should say, like, that would be such a cool, like, end-of-game thing. Okay, that doesn't look great. Rah, Gigamonti! Deltarune... I'd honestly argue Deltarune is the better starting point if you want to get into Undertale than Undertale is. There's something about Deltarune that feels more right to me. Favorite game soundtrack? Favorite game soundtrack? Gigamonti's the final boss in Ruin. That would be awesome. It might be Undertale, unironically. I have a lot of soundtracks I'm really fond of personally, but, like, when I think of the full package where there's, like, any song I can play and I'm really into it, it is Undertale soundtrack. There's no one game where I'm like, every song is something I would kind of want to listen to. Because even, like, some of the lower tier songs in Undertale are songs I like. Or I don't feel are that bad. Even, like, the temperate songs, like, or the so whatever. Even those songs, which are probably the worst by technicality songs of Undertale, are, like, not bad. They just aren't as good as, like, basically any other song. I was trying to think of any song that I'm like, that's kind of a lower middle end song. That's, like, a good thing to be below. And then I'm like, nah, I really like almost every other song, even, like, the small little ones, like, what's it called? Like, Dog Sniff or whatever. Boom, boom, boom. Or is it Dog Bass? Is that what it's called? Yeah, I haven't properly played Chrono Trigger. I played, like, a little bit of it. A cat character that acts like Garfield would be a funny connection. Though I'd probably... If I did a cat, it would probably be Candy. But it's... I want to work in the context of the characters kind of into their appearances, which is another one of the reasons I'm kind of afraid of fandom characters, other than maybe Sparky. Sparky's, like, the one character I'm like, I kind of want to do that one. That isn't, like, an official character. But it might be fun to make, because I kind of, like I said, I want to represent the context they came from a little bit. And I think it'd be funny if Sparky was an unused character from the show, or like he was like a creepypasta kind of thing, or not creepypasta, but like fake lost media, like Kekrok. You know, if you don't know what Kekrok is, it's like it's this fake lost media character that's supposed to be an unused Sega Genesis game, but he doesn't really exist. And Kekrok, I think, is exactly what Sparky would be. That would be the funniest way to have Sparky in universe be a character. Sitting Hat Frog. Okay, the frog is in the Discord server if you want to use it. Song I might play with my tank is great. That frog is way too dapper. Cat frog, fan favorite cat frog. So you know, if I'm gonna do Candy or Pop Goes, they're probably gonna be fan characters in universe. Like, because there are some famous like Sonic OCs, so I don't think it's that absurd. I don't think it's that absurd of an idea. For there to be like popular fan characters that everyone kind of knows. I mean, that's what they are in our universe, so it's really not that strange. Yeah, I just hit 9.5k. I do know what the 10k video is going to be, because for a while, I was afraid of doing a milestone video because the channel was growing so fast for a bit. Oh, let me export the page so I have the finalized pages to look at. And we'll do it after we're done with it. Or actually, it might be good to, like, close these off. So let's... let me make a new folder. There we go. And for quality, there we go. I do know what the 10k video is, because I knew 10k was one of the milestones I wanted to do, and I also knew I couldn't kind of go for it too early. Because I when I was at 5, I hit 5k really fast. And I was like, well, it doesn't really feel like a milestone because I had like 5 videos up at that point. So explaining every gag in 5 videos would be like kind of weird or something like that. So I'm like, yeah, I need something a little bit more to work with before I do like a milestone video. So that's why I wanted to wait for that a bit. I need to add Bonnie's hair swoopies in that he doesn't have always. I gave him that because he kind of has that in the original art from Freddy. And it helps break up his ears a bit to kind of make a bit more sense. Boom, boom, boom. Hear that song that might play when you fight Sans is so much earlier than like Bergen Drunken and everything like that. I know no Candy the Cat, only sugar. I don't know. Maybe I'll draw that as like a fun thing. Just for the sake of it, to draw what Candy would look like in the style. I definitely actually want to do that. But... make my server emote? Maybe. There you go. Bonnie kind of has a pop belly in this. Some kind of funny design quirk he ended up having. Weird, we're actually starting to get to the phase where some of the line art is clean enough that I'm barely changing it. That's how I'm trying to fix some of the proportioning on them. I thought about trying to give everyone a unique bow tie, but I couldn't really get it to work right. I think Toby just didn't want to spoil anything and just threw it earlier in the soundtrack, or maybe this is just something, because I don't know if this is the official order of things, so who knows what the official order of the songs is. That kind of, that's a little nicer. For erase that for a bit though, so I can draw. Oh no! I just realized. What do I color Bonnie? Yeah, Freddy's dad was something I've always thought of, but I never. Like, this is one of those mediums to do it kind of things. Like, what chance do I get? Because I can't make that a theory. That's just headcanon. And it doesn't even really make sense in the brain. It's just kind of the same character, but also, like, apparently separate enough to be two separate characters in a cartoon show. So it's like, their connection in canons are really weird. What color do I make Bonnie? He's supposed to be like Toy Bonnie, but he's also kind of classic Bonnie. Can I do a poll on my phone? Okay, let me pull up the stream, actually. We have to do a poll. Yep, poll. So keep in mind, blue, cyan. Fuck, no, those aren't the only options. End poll. No one gets to vote. Bonnie color. So blue, Toy Bonnie blue. I should say light wool. Oracle. Cyan. There we go. This is an important question. Okay. This is perfect music for this situation. What do we do? Everyone's got to vote on this. This is super important. I'm waiting on it. Light blurple. Color code. I might actually try this. Which color code is this? I think it gets frustratingly technical at times like this. How do I just pull up like the stupid technical? Ugh. Sometimes it's like really annoying to pull up. That color? That color? Wait, no. Oh, let me just look up X color. That? Maybe. Classic Blurple is winning by far. So that would be like... God, I love that particular moment in the song. That would be... That's kind of the color range we're going for. Maybe a bit faded. That's more purple. And this kind of... Now we're firmly in blue over here. Periwinkle again. Color. That could work. Yeah, like that. Wait, nope, that's the line art layer. Bonnie! It is interesting how wind information range. Okay. Bonnie has a red bow tie. I'll just increase that to do it. Actually, this does weirdly look a lot like Bonnie Bowl. This is a very Bonnie Bowl aesthetic. Kind of. Next silly stream? I don't know. I'm not even sure what the silly stream will be. Actually no, I do know. I do know. I thought I figured out what I wanted. It won't be too far. I might actually... Wait, we're not... I might subdue that a bit. That looks nice. That adds like a little texture without overwhelming it. Sometimes I love when Freddy's... Drawing pissed off Freddy you might notice he's pissed off at a lot of frames. That's because I love drawing him angry. There's something about contrasting the canon Freddy as like the as like the no, everything's fine kind of tone he has in canon with the, oh god, I gotta deal with these pricks. Another day of everyone's nonsense. Like, that Freddy's kind of hilarious in a weird way. So I kind of want to make him partially the mainstay. Goodbye, Perfectolini. Farewell. This song's really long, actually. So fun fact, my kind of consistent comedy standard for this comic is the very rare good Garfield joke, and also Garfield's kind of my artistic reference for like what it should look like and like the kind of quality it should have. Because like if I stopped and like hyper shaded it to be like as good as I could get to looking, it would look kind of it wouldn't really work for it. Newspaper strips, especially daily ones, aren't like that, and I couldn't do it daily if I tried to do it that well. Freddy's face when you mentioned the bite of 87. Can't believe you did it. You said it. What's you gonna do about it? Actually, the bite of 83 would have happened during this issue's... Actually, before that. There's actually something for Ozzy the Owlbear I thought of that... canonically, the broadcast in Utah is changed a bit of the show that these comics are born from, basically. To not mention Spring Bonnie and Fredbear, because they have just such a bad history there. But like, assuming there are Freddy's outside of Utah, the idea is that they don't have the bad blood there, and so they can get away with it. Frederick Finkelbohr. I really want to work in the name Ferdinand von Bernard as like a distant ancestor of Freddy in this, to explain where the name Fredbear came from. That's a fun community cut. It's not really a deep cut, but it's a fun community gag. But it's just a funny idea in general. That's what's so great about the undeniably canon timeline. It's like, it's such a great series if you're a FNAF fan, but also like a lot of the jokes work anyway. Like the idea of an animatronic named Ferdinand von Bernard is funny regardless. Another page where Freddy doesn't have his buttons. Ferdinand Frederickson Jr. Second, the Junior. Will Frederick stay a cosmic entity on the level of Cthulhu? No, sadly. It's just gonna be like it's just gonna be like a joke where there's just like a family tree, and then it's like, and then first to settle over here was Ferdinand von Bernard, like etc. Like it's just like the whole like tree, and then it goes down, and it's like Fredbear here, and then it's like question mark here and then Freddy. Like that's all the joke's gonna be. We know in our hearts he's a cosmic space entity beyond understanding. The running scene. I've been thinking of last names for the characters because, like, Freddy's the only character with a canon last name. I think I've settled on some, like, they're kind of safe and boring, but they're, like, very much what I think they would probably be named. So it's like Bonnie Cottontail, Chica. I had a thing for Chica. I just thought of one. I can't call her that, but it'd be so funny to call her that. Chica Poultry Ass. That's such a dumb... That's not a good joke, even. I don't know why that made me smile so much when I thought of it. He made Lefty being $5 more relevant. That is one of the best undeniably canon jokes. Oh, Chica Pollo might actually be a great last name. They returned with Chicken Katsu. Katsu actually might be a good name for Chica too. The reason Pollo is so great is because it's also Spanish, like her normal name is. Which is kind of why I actually really like that she has maracas as her kind of canon instrument in the Rockstar band. It's one of the few times like that name kind of pays off, the Spanish name. In fact, I'm surprised. So here's my personal headcanon. El Chip is from Chica's Party World, and that there's just a running Hispanic theme there in general. Like, not even just Mexican, just in general. That's always been my headcanon. Chica Pollo. Chica Pollo. Los Pollos Hermanos. That's funny to think about that. Her last name would literally be, like her last name would basically be, or like her name would basically translate to, girl chicken, or chicken girl. That's kind of funny. I think I'm gonna make Pollo her last name. I have to make it a bit more pronounced. Oh, I have to fix his eyes too. Hopes and dreams. The entire Undertale melody that's used is just great in general. Oh, Music Man also is going to appear. Actually, he's going to be DJ Music Man specifically. Ella Dip. Beastman only plays for Cassie. That actually could. When does when Never Gonna Give You Up come out? When does the song? Dang! It can't. This is an it can appear in season 2. It can appear in season. Gonna Give You Up can appear in season 2. We're safe, everybody. The joke can happen. It's a relevant song from the time period. Oh, we can end the poll. The joke can happen. We're all safe. We're all good. Yeah, you did you just this community has decided the coloration of Bonnie. I wonder if I'll give Bonnie distinct colored eyes. Zest Fest is going to get that here. Boom. You can also get the Day Shift of Freddy's reference. Yeah. They literally just grabbed Megalo Strike Back and made it Cars themed, which is like so weird that they decided it would be Cars themed, but like only a subsector of the community really recognizes Megalovania as potentially being the Genocide Frisk theme. Which is that's a fan theory that I adore so much. I don't even know if it's I don't know if that was the intent, but it fits the usage of Megalovania historically so much better than Megalovania being Sans' theme, because Megalovania is almost reserved for like this ballistic, rage-filled last stand, which kind of does fit Sans, but like typically the characters it's associated with are not really Sans' personality in almost every usage of it. Particularly the Halloween hack Dr. Andonauts is so not Santa's personality. I mean, there is that level of like defeatistness in his characterization that kind of adds up, but only so much. There is a theory that I really stand by that's going to be like basically canon if I ever get to do Monarch Tale. Because it basically follows it. I'm not even sure if it's a theory or this is just what the game is trying to get across. So, let me pause as I explain this. This is going to be a live Undertale theory. right? So, at the end of Undertale, the Genocide run, to reset the game and let the game continue going, you give your soul to Kara, whatever you want to call them, right? You give your soul up to them. But remember, your soul is level 20. And Sans explains that you inherently become more apathetic and violent the higher level you are. So I wonder if the canon explanation for Kara being evil, quote unquote, is that you basically corrupt them into a level 20 apathetic psychopath and make that their soul. That is kind of my theory for that because the personality doesn't really match the flashback Kara personality a lot, the one we see in the Genocide run. So that is your live Undertale theory. And it goes with narrator Kara. That very much ties into that theory. Which is my personal favorite Undertale theory. I feel like that adds so much more depth to the game and experience. The trash gang joke like has kind of already subtly been working in, where I'm trying to make some of the inanimate objects inexplicably have eyes and stuff. Sir, this is a Wendy's. I think the idea, yeah, is that you are just such a violent asshole that you legitimately break the soul of like the other, not the soul, because I don't think Kara's really alive anymore. That's kind of part of the point of Undertale, or that's kind of part of the point of this. The song that's playing is literally like part of Asriel kind of moving on. Because, well, I do think we do kind of bring them back to an extent. I think it's very much Pet Sematary logic, even with narrator Kara, where they're just kind of a reflection of us. But, yeah. Number one crate. Hi, Crazy Adam. Yeah, it is kind of implied that Kara doesn't really have a soul anymore. Or at least the one we see in Undertale actively. Flashback Kara obviously did. They wouldn't be able to cross the barrier if they didn't have a soul. But I don't think the one we interact with, even under narrator Kara, is really the one that was in the past. Comma number one crate W. What would it look like? I have been trying to... Okay, I want to find a way to work Helpy in. I'm still trying to figure out that. I'm not 100% on how I want to do him in the comic. But I really want Buff Helpy to appear out of nowhere. Even if it's just like a single page, I want to draw the like most detailed Buff Helpy I ever could. Even if it's like a throwaway gag where it's like him working out for a little bit. And then like cuts and he's just jacked. Even if that's just the joke, I want Buff Helpy to be in there. Freddy's lawyer, that would be funny. Yeah, that is the running theory to finish like the Kara point. Kara can't be pure evil or anything like that. They can't be what we see in the Genocide run because they would have just killed Asriel and taken his soul. They literally have no reason not to if their goal is just to kill everyone. No, they're not. I'm not saying they're a great person either in canon. I don't think the other extreme is necessarily better. I just don't think they clearly can't be pure evil because humans are so overwhelmingly powerful in canon that they literally could have just killed everyone if they wanted. Because no one would want to hurt them, because they live in the underground long enough where no one wants to hurt them, and if monsters don't want to hurt people, they can't hurt people, basically. Make a painting and put it over face. That would be a funny. No, they tried to kill a village of human people and they fucking poisoned that. The poison Asgore thing is one of those. It's really hard to tell what Toby was trying to get across with that. Like, did Kara genuinely mean to poison him, or is that just foreshadowing for how they'll poison themselves? And that's the other like weird thing is like no one in Undertale really is like the perfect person. Like even us as the player is like only perfect when we know everything to do and follow that path. We kind of have to know everything to be perfect in Undertale, which is kind of part of the whole commentary of that game. Super Eye Patch Wolf puts in a great protest. You aren't a human. You're a player playing a video game, and you have all the powers that go with that. Favorite animatronic? It's Mangle. It is hands down Mangle. Mangle has always been my favorite animatronic. And I've never been... Well, it might be Zangle at this point. Zangle, I have such an attachment to Zangle from the Zangle slide gag in my videos. That's the official name of it, by the way. The Zangle slide, whenever Zangle appears out of nowhere and just slides slowly across the screen. That's what I call it. One of my favorite things to edit in. Because the original reason I did the Zangle slide was just... I had no visual purpose. Like, there was just nothing happening on screen at that point. I was just ranting, and I needed the same image to be on screen. For the sake of, like... I don't remember what I was talking about. I just was like, oh, I want one visual to be on screen. So I just had Zangle slide across screen, so something was happening, new, like something new was on screen. I'm gonna start giving some of these frogs more personality. No, Zangle is not just me being pissed. Freddy about to summon Saul Goodman. Scrap trap. No, Zangle isn't me being angry. Zangle is just this bit of whenever I'm ranting for way too long and I need something to break up the visuals. And I kind of want comedy to kind of break how much I'm talking. Zangle just slides across the screen. If Zangle appears, you know I'm kind of going on a rant in that moment. I've been drawing so many frogs. How many frogs are we at? Dun, dun, da, da, da. This is the only noise Foxy's made in the comic, by the way. How many people have noticed the whole thing that no one seems to know the name of Foxy in this? Got it, the Winged Beast. Sounds like a Yu-Gi-Oh! Zangle, the Winged Beast. Totally, it's a Yu-Gi-Oh! Monster. There he is. He's there. He made his way in. He made his way in. The Dapper Boy's in here. It might just be simpler to do this. Thank you. I will be personally hunting for Mr. Toadsworth in every panel. Is that his name now, Toadsworth? Oh, that's a very SNES riff right there. God, this entire time I've just been drawing page 2. It's been 2 hours and I've gotten 2 pages colored. Jeez, I thought I would be done with... I thought I would get every page done. Already. Like, in the time that's already passed. I might have to do a bunch more of these streams. If I'm doing this rate. Dun, dun, dun. Well, then again, I don't have as many frogs on a page at a time. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum. Oh, now it's time for Last Goodbye. Yeah, I don't think the narrator in Deltarune is a separate character. The cake has been done baking. Wow, I didn't even try with the hand on it. Kind of wrinkles nose a bit. Oh. kind of give them like the they're going out to the sticks kind of feel. God, Last Goodbye is so good. Last Goodbye might be one of the most underrated songs in the entire game. Like, no one talks about this song, and it's such a great recap of Undertale, like, emotionally. Oh. Now we're on to the genocide stuff. What are people's thoughts on some of the characterization so far from the Freddy and Friends? Because they are kind of my takes on the characters. I do take a lot of liberties with them. It's part of the reason I had to make a whole canon reason for like the characters to be kind of off character. Because Mangle is by far the most different. Like, Canon Mangle is such like a sweethearted like character. Yeah, that is a great. There's something snarky but kind of silly. Not snarky. There's something punny but like kind of genuine about Bonnie. I do like. I do want to. I want every character to have at least one defined episode for them. That's just like their time to be them. And I do want to kind of define what I think makes these variants tick compared to like. Because, like, we only have, like, their archetypes to work off of in canon, so giving them defined stuff would be great. Freddy and Friends off camera. Yeah, like, Canon Mangle is such a nice character. And it makes so much sense that they're, like, supposed to be, like, the take care of the kids character, basically. I made them this uncanny, like this savage fucking ex-pirate with Herculean strength. That is their canon powers. Like, they might be the only character in Freddy and Friends to have a power set. Well, I guess RWQ will, but yeah. He's a little different because, like, you kind of expect him to be supernatural to some extent. Freddy and Freddy's DVD director's cut. Oh, chat's getting kind of screwed up on my. Hold on. I use my phone for chat because I don't like. Freddy and Friends, the Snyder's cut. If you want to add Springtrap, I think the only way to. Yeah. Yeah, Springtrap you can only do as a zombie Spring Bonnie, and that's such a screwed up premise. Oh, is it 3 a.m. for you? Damn. Yeah, it's 6 p.m. for me. Oh, here it is. Guys, it's Death by Glamour. It's everyone's favorite song. It's Death by Glamour, right? Spring Bonnie will be such a hard character to handle because canonically everyone hates him because he's related to the MCI. He is the murder weapon, basically. How long do you have do you plan on going, sire? As in for the stream today? Good question. I don't know. I do want to finish this page since I started it. So at least until this page is done. We haven't even gotten to some Deltarune tracks yet. Funny Ballin' Man song over. I know. Yeah, everyone just knows that Megalovania exists. Error 404? I only know Error Sans normal. I don't know about Error 404 Sans. Though I would not be surprised if that's a separate variant. There's a Sans for everything. That's kind of something that's a Monarch Tale kind of comments on eventually I want to is the characters, because like Error Sans is not at all the personality of Sans. Like they are so different characterization wise. Like that it's interesting that like why even make him Sans in the first place other than Sans as a popular character. And it's not to say I dislike Error Sans. I think he has a rad as hell design, and I think some of the comics I've seen him in write him pretty well. That said, like he's a very, I feel like he's an inherently hard character to handle. Because like, how do you write him as not just like your edgy OC fan, like edgelord? It is like a very difficult thing, and to give him some kind of like, you really have to nail the kind of mission statement feel of his character. Of like that, I have to do this, and you have to characterize that well and make that feel like that's either a good villain motive or like, yeah, that hat like. Or make that scary or something like that. He has a character you have to add depth to him. Comics. He would be. He's already kind of Comic Sans. Oh, I love the Valley Girl Chica. I've been thinking about trying to write in, like an older sister Chica potentially, called like Miss Funtime or something like that. That's implied to be Funtime Chica or something like that, but I haven't really figured out how to make it work yet. Oh, we're finally in Deltarune territories. I think let's get like mint or something like that for this one. Deltarune also has a great soundtrack, but the weakness of Deltarune is that a lot of the how do I put it? It's like Undertale is such a complete soundtrack, whereas Deltarune is perpetually incomplete until Chapter 7 comes out, basically. I do know Error Sans is kind of supposed to be like a bad ending kind of character. Adult theory. I how I could easily say the way I think I would do an adult theory joke would be like, you're not allowed to say that on television kind of thing. That's how I think I would do adult theory. If I were to acknowledge it. Ooh, that mint is kind of fun. It doesn't really make sense because he's kind of floating in the void in this page, but I think it works enough. This is actually an error. This is what I was still figuring out what I wanted to do for this. There we go. This is a Spider-Man reference. Or not a Spider-Man reference, this is very much how Stan Lee does editorial notes in classic Spider-Man. I think if I were to do a Chica adaptation, it would be Funtime / Glamrock Chica and name her Funtime and basically make her the Darkfire or the Blackfire to Chica Starfire, if that makes sense. If anyone in here's a Teen Titans fan, that's how I think it would handle the two. I think of this Chica as somewhere between what we do know of Chica's canon personality. Horror Sans looks cool. I don't know much about him. A lot of the AU Sans just kind of look cool to me, if I'm being completely honest. And it's kind of as far as they really go for a lot of people until you find, like, that one person who writes them really well. You know, that's kind of Undertale's fandom's, like, kind of strength and weakness. A lot of it's pretty subjective to who's writing who. Kind of like any community, really. Some people are just really good at nailing the characters, and some people are like, what? I'm thinking of this Chica as kind of... The Starfire comparison is actually very apt. I think is kind of how a lot of her characters are going to be. And I think there's going to be a level of, like, that party enthusiast of Pinkie Pie kind of thing going on. I don't know much about Pinkie Pie. I just know they made a pink horse that is fucking batshitly obsessed with parties. And I think that's a kind of funly fitting thing for Toy Chica, who this Chica is very derived from. Because that's the thing on her shirt is like, let's party! That's voice I just did probably is what she's going to end up sounding like, by the way, sadly. I cannot really do a lot of girl voices for characters. Though I would... But I'm fully willing to voice every girl character, they just won't be good voices. Yeah, that's what I remember. I remember the premise of Horror, I just didn't remember what the characterization was. Bonnie already looks way more on model in this page than he used to. Which, the model sheet is basically just what's in my head. Like, that looks better. Stream ending soon? Probably not.
What's the deal with the robot kids? They're not robots, they're not kids, except they're both!
Bam, bam, boom, boom. Yeah, it would be cool to get a dedicated female voice to do some of the characters I can do. My plan is, here's the thing, like, it would be great to have, like, a lot of voices. Like, a lot of voices, but I'd actually prefer to keep the voice pool as small as possible. Because the more people I get, the more people I need to consistently show up if I want to do that, if I want that voice to appear. Which makes a lot of voices, like, a lot of the voices I would have to do that aren't mine would have to be guest characters. Characters who we never know when they're going to appear. Like Monty. Monty appears only every now and then. So he's a great guest character voice. I should not have... Okay. Let's grab that. Whoops.
Yeah, blue now. Yeah.
Wait, no, not that. Nope, not that. Where Clip Studio draws a line on what's color is so weird to me. I think I turned up its sensitivity at some point for like what it registers as colors. It would be so funny to end on this, but it might be a great starter for next stream. I think it would be funny if Helpy had an inexplicably deep voice. Like, hello everyone, I am Helpy, and I am here to save the day. And everyone's like, what the fuck? Yeah. Freddy, what are we going to do about him? That's the Bond voice, by the way, currently. He's British. Because he's supposed to have that David Bowie kind of, like, British rocker kind of thing going on. Kind of like what Spider-Punk ended up having in the movie. Across the Spider-Verse. That's kind of what I was going for. That's what I'm probably going to go for with him. Maybe give him a bit more of a Liverpool angle. Freddy's just gonna be... Oh. Well... But, Foxy doesn't talk, so I don't have to do a voice for them, luckily. But other Foxy's gonna be Captain Foxy. She's gonna be like, Yark! Get off my lawn! Fuck. Ow. Get off my ship! That's gonna be his entire thing. I'm not super familiar with Bowie eras, like, in general. I don't know what the name of the era was, but... No, Hold on, let me... What album is Space Oddity? I know it's cliche, but, like, it's... Space Oddity is... What album is it? Is it a single? Is Space Oddity... album? Oh, it's just in the album David Bowie. Never mind. Okay. I really like Space Oddity, and it's one of those, like... I kind of feel like saying my favorite hero is Spider-Man. Like, no shit, everyone's favorite superhero is like Spider-Man. But like, with Space Oddity, it's for a fucking reason.
Arg, SpongeBob, you're spending all my money.
Across the Robo-Childverse. I do have a physical cassette of Bowie's greatest hits. Actually, that is as far as my Bowie stuff goes. That's kind of a symptom of me being that kind of person. Spider-Man's great in general. Across the Golden Freddy verse. Someone made a Race to Spider-Man 2099 meme with I might make this a little brighter. With Glamrock Freddy versus Lefty. You're not a real Freddy. Get out. How old I am? I'm a Ben 10 fan. Figure it out from there. What the fuck is this car? I just realized. I never really thought about it. I just kind of drew it. Ba-da. Okay, let's do this one more time.
SpongeBob, me boy, I have overdosed on ketamine. I'm going to die. Alright, let's do this one more time.
That's a nightmare. It would fly right through. My name is Andrew, and for the past 4 books, I've been in the one and only Golden Freddy. There can't be 2 Golden Freddys, can there? Page falls. Then it's like, alright, let's do this one last time. My name is Michael Brooks, and for the past 3.5... how long is the Silver Eyes timeline, actually? For the past 3... I'm just going to say 3 years. That's not the number, but I'm just going to make a number. For the past 3 years, I've been the one and only Golden Freddy. Then it cuts to Cass and Drew from the movie, unnamed character. $1985. Interesting math for my age. CC is Charles Miles. Technically, actually, it would be the other way around. Okay, the youngest Golden Freddy should be Andrew or Cassidy. Right? Because they died in 1985. where actually no, Michael will be around the same. Brooks will be around the same age, I guess. He wouldn't be that different in age. The oldest Golden Freddy should be the Crying Child, actually. Literally has the most years on everyone. Technically. By sheer technicality, because 1983 is before everything else. And they're all children, so it's not like it changes. Crying Child should be the... Hey. My name is Michael Apton, and I'm the deadest man alive. Cassidy and Gwen might work. Strangely competent, but like... whatever. Like, still young, but very competent. Gwen kind of takes the role of, like, teenage Peter Parker that's kind of figured things out, but isn't quite, like, adult Peter Parker. Like, Gwen kind of covers the the spectacular Spider-Man kind of point in his history, where he's, like, definitively Spider-Man, definitively has the Rogues Gallery, but still clearly a kid, kind of. Well, like, Miles takes over the role of Golden Freddy, so like, you would have to be theorizing that someone takes the role of Golden Freddy. And chronologically, Crying Child would be first. Like, no matter how you slice it. Spectacular is a great show. Like, Spectacular Spider-Man is one of the best interpretations of Spider-Man, period. The voice of him actually, because he appears in Across the Spider-Verse briefly. In fact, he has voice lines. And his voice actor confirmed, like, the reason he was, like, doing stuff the way he was in Spider-Verse, like, because people were like, is this in character for him? And then he was like, no, yeah, it absolutely is. Like, especially when you consider where Spectacular Spider-Man left off before it was canceled. I feel like he's pretty in character in the movie, in my opinion. Especially with the rationale of how the voice explains it. The only character I felt was out of character from what you expect them to be is Ben Reilly, Scarlet Spider. He's kind of a joke character in the movie, where he's very much not that in the comics. I'm just going to do basic bubble letters. I don't really care about the sign being perfect. Which I know some people were kind of upset that Ben Reilly isn't, like, a super serious character in the movie, which I don't really mind, personally. He's a good reflection of... I think he's a good reflection of the time period in the movie, even if he's a good reflection of Ben Reilly. Because Ben Reilly is, like, 90s comics incarnate in the movie, as the non-spoiler way to put it. Maybe. I don't know. A lot of the Clone Saga stuff is, like, hard to handle, so I really don't blame them for, like, doing it the way they did. It's such a weird point in Spider-Man history. It would be kind of like having Superior Spider-Man in there. It's like, he's a very hard character to handle. Because it's like, kind of what makes Superior Spider-Man work is he's almost a villain in a hero's costume. I mean, he is. He's Doc Ock, but... But, like, a lot of his character works from longevity. Like seeing Doc Ock as Spider-Man change over time is such an interesting concept that's executed decently well. God versus Susie is one of my... It's by far the edgiest song on Deltarune, and it totally nails that vibe, because that's what it's going for. Like, it's trying to be edgy. This fucking van sucks. I cannot draw. I need to make a 3D model of this van or something. Drawing it's been hell every appearance. Ooh, a Raimi-verse. Yeah, Mangle's in the comic. There we go. Or actually here. Mangle cameo. Mangle pages. Or I should say Foxy pages. Because they're just Foxy in this. With great Remnant comes great agony. Yeah. Yeah, I need a set... The van is something I have to really iron out. I really don't have rules for the van yet at all. And I really need those. Yeah. So, she has pants in this because Foxy has shorts in every other appearance. Every other Foxy has shorts. So I said give them pink shorts, because giving them a pink thong would look really fucking weird. It's almost more weird playing into the whole androgynous angle if they had, like... Yeah. Oh, I can't wait for the radioactive agony bite. Point she go with overalls would be interesting. Aria Van might work. Agony and Remnant something I'm kind of split on, because if it's characterized as they don't actually Afton and like any other character interacting with it doesn't really understand it. I like that characterization for how they handle Remnant. I think that's like a kind of cool concept. There's this powerful substance that they can only begin to tap into. Does that work? Yeah, I'll work with that. Toy Freddy kind of does, yeah. Yeah, the toys are very much a Care Bear kind of variations of the characters. Like, they are very kid-friendly variants. They're supposed to be like the goofy, lighthearted counterparts to like the serious main cast. God damn it, I hate when it does this shit with black coloration. I don't know why it does that. Like, there's literally no reason for it to pierce into it like that. There, that's my simple... Until I design a proper logo for it.
This game is totally rigged.
And hate how the studio handles coloring in things. At times, they really suck. I don't even know what this track is from. That's sickeningly bright, actually. Hold the fuck on. Much better. I know what this track is from. I haven't done a... Okay, I actually haven't done a video on FNAF, not because he was like, well, maybe don't react to me if you want to act like this. But because he just hasn't had a video and we're like, I want to do a reaction to this. I haven't really had like videos where I'm like, I want to break down or debunk this. I just haven't had a video and like that's the video, like how I feel about it. Like, why make a debunk video if I'm like, this, if I don't feel like it needs a debunk video? Because, like, I have a feeling like most CharlieBot things are going to be kind of debunked or bunked. Like, there's not going to be... Like, here's the thing. The Robot Kid thing, I felt like I needed to make a video because I felt like Matt's just going to say it forever. I'm like, I want to have a stance on that. Whereas, like... A lot of FNAF's theories, I'm like, that's probably going to be stated or proven wrong eventually. Like, the whole ending part of the Robot Kid video is kind of me talking about how it's, like, a frustrating theory because it's actually one that's probably not going to die very easy because it's a very hard theory to bunk or debunk. Like, if it isn't true, it's a really hard thing for a security breach as it's been set up to, like, debunk and get rid of. I'm with you in the Yeah, Robot Michael kind of died when there was literally no reason for him to be a robot anymore. Like, nothing he did, there was no way to interpret it, really. And there's no, like, oh, he has to be a robot to come back, kind of thing. I think my art's starting to get worse. Yeah, it's weird. So, like, Undertale has, or Deltarune has, like, the whole soul split thing where there was Chris and the player seem to be different characters fundamentally. I like to think that if the actual Chris, the one you're kind of stealing the soul of seemingly for the gameplay, had controlled their soul and wasn't afraid of Susie, they probably would be friends with Susie. Like, based on what we do know of their personality, because they used to be a bit of a mischievous little punk, to be completely honest. Like Chris, like, everything we get to know about them, like, they fuck with Noelle just for shits and giggles frequently. I'm like, that's such a Susie energy kind of thing. Like, they probably would be friends anyway if they could get, like, over it. Like, it is implied that Chris is normally afraid of Susie. Oh, there's so many questions the Charlie being a robot makes. Yeah. Chris is canonically a gamer, and so is Susie. Point stands. Freedom units. I'm gonna cut the come around we reckon joke. I think the sticks is funnier on its own. Mike and Deltarune? For Mike and FNAF? The sticks mean, it's like a country term. It's like, we're out in the sticks. Yeah. It just means, like, you're out in the country. That's all it means. I'm gonna... Hold on. This is a little too bright to me, so I'm gonna try and tone it back a bit. Try and tone back the color scheme a bit. Purple man, I do tell. There's a reference to Purple Guy. It's not a completely out of pocket joke. It's a canon event. You're a fan.
What would I guess William being Springlocked is a canon event because it happens in all continuity so far that we know of. Like, there's literally no instance where William being Springlocked isn't acknowledged as happening at some point. So William being Springlocked canon event. The MCI is a canon event. Happens in all continuities. William himself seems to be a bit of a canon event. He seems to be the one through line. That seems pretty inalienable. Like, it doesn't matter who he works with. William Afton himself just has to exist. I might make the car purple eventually. That might be an interesting way to balance it out. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun. Check out this entire page. Looks and color. Looks better. I think I polished it up towards the end.
That is no guitarist, Chica. That is a filthy banjo player, and I do not care to be compared to one.
Yeah. 5 kids being slaughtered is a canon event, let's say. Oh god, cleaning up this. Like, the music notes are intentionally supposed to be screwed up. But just this entire... A lot of, actually, the... This will be actually... I might not even need to clean some of this up. This is such like a finished page. For this specific panel, actually. Happy Frog's also pretty cleaned. I don't have to do this one at all. Unless... Yeah. That's exactly how Bonnie's going to sound. By the way. Let me just do some random... We're going to Ratland! We're going to Ratland? Well, Papa Fredbear always said, to stop pests, you need help from pests. To stop pests, you need help from pests.
We're going to Ratland.
Look, Bonnie! Fuck. Look, Bonnie! Fuck. No. Chica voice. Look, Bonnie. There are other guitarists out here.
That is no...
Nah, I already did that. Like, ugh, I can't read.
I'm trying to find a page that doesn't have girl voices in it yet. Well, if you have any questions, maybe Old Man Consequences can help.
Why does he look so, necrotic?
He just does that to a fellow. That's or he's vegan.
Consider this the honorary dub. Did we learn anything about that trip?
Did we learn anything about that trip?
Frags ate salt. Isn't that for slugs and snails? Frags do! Frags do! Yeah. Baby consuming Elizabeth again a bit? Kind of. Typography is really hard. Use the arm thing, but then... Burn Trap is a weird case because he doesn't have two intact arms. He's his second intact spring lock arm, like a mechanical arm. So it's Stitch Line's a frustrating thing because I don't know how you debunk it. It actually has a lot of the same problems that I feel like with Robot Kids, where it's like, how the fuck do you debunk this? Not because I think the theory's entirely like amazing or anything, but because like it's a really awkward thing to confirm or deconfirm, like without really going out of your way to talk about it. So it's very hard to work in naturally, I feel like, without stopping and turning to the camera being like, hey, we talked about the thing. Actually, let me try Chico with Valley Girl. Look, buddy. Fuck, no. Look, buddy. There are other guitarists out here. Heyo, Mr. Hippo Man. You know anything about getting rid of frogs? That's great. How do... where's... Frogs? Fuck. I can't do the Valley Girl on command. It's like something I have to warm up to. Yeah. I just don't get why Scott wouldn't clarify later that Stitch Line was canon at any point. Because that's like such a huge thing that isn't like a lore question. That is just like a, what the fuck do I, like, imagine if you were given a book series of 20 books, but you weren't told if any, you were told that some things might not be canon in them, and that these 3 specific things weren't canon, and that these like 7 things are absolutely canon. So you're like, okay, I've got half the list. I know for a fact what's canon. Gotta work with it. And then you're told, oh, some of the things might overlap or connect with other things. So it's like, what the fuck does that mean? And I'm like, and that's my biggest issue with Stitch Line, is like never clarifying that is such a weird, because it's not like a thing Scott's really, not clarifying that kind of stuff is not really something Scott hasn't done before. Like, people act like Scott never clarifies lore stuff, but he does. He clarified things like, oh, don't worry about the face of the one you should not have killed, that's just my son. Don't worry about the idea of the VR developer, or of the indie developer being me. That's not, don't think about that. I just use myself as the image there. But he never did that for like the books, which is my biggest sticking point. Like, why the fuck did Scott never clarify that? And then there's the frustrating thing is, since not all objectively, not all Fright stories are canon. That's a stated concept. Because Scott said some aren't connected to the games. So you can't argue every single Fright story is canon. But that raises questions like, does that logic apply to Frights, or does that logic apply to Tales? And then the logbook is canon, I would say. To be honest, the Tales being canon is carried by GGY. Like, because a lot of the connections are like, huh, that is interesting. Moving on. But GGY is like the only time where it feels like Tails stops to really try to connect a security breach. And I don't mean bullshit like the water bottle being on the floor. Because that's not a real connection. That is a detail they kept the same between the two things. That is a really weird detail to keep things and point out. I give it credit for that. But so much stuff isn't like logical connections. Like the water bottle thing is so weirdly specific that I give it credit for that. But at the same time, that's not like a lore connection. That's we kept the detail like, and that's very frustrating. Nah, Tales games is better than Robot Kids. Tales games is weird because like the more shit it comes out with, actually the less confident I am. And when GGY came out, I'm like, oh, okay, this is confirmation that's canon. And then other shit comes out, I'm like, it is it? Because a lot of Tale, there's nothing stopping Tales from being Silver Eyes, where characters, names, and ideas happen the same way but slightly different. I think a lot of people ignore that concept. Because think about it. Characters and names and almost exact events happen in Silver Eyes like they do in the games, but they just aren't the same continuity anyway. Like, and that's what makes GGY frustrating. Because there's no reason it couldn't happen in the games, inherently. Other than the fact that it's connected to stuff that it's like, what? Oh yeah, I could probably. Um, yeah, I'll do that, actually. I'll make the back of the van red. Let me make the handle white. That does kind of flesh out the pattern a little bit more. Okay. It does give it a bit more of a distinct look. Oh, wait, that's because... Yeah, you can't edit it if it's open in another tab. Because, like, the other issue is a lot of the implied shit happening in GGY is, like, it completely cuts out Vanny, which is the strangest thing. I know the tree's taken out. I know that, but it doesn't make a lot of the stories required to be canon to it, because that's like the thing. It's like there isn't like a requirement like, oh, this can only happen if it's in the game verse for a lot of shit. And this goes for Frights and Tales. There is not a lot of an inherent reason they have to be in that verse, other than the sake of saying, oh, they're canon to the games. Even GGY technically doesn't need to be in the game verse. It feels more at home in the game verse, but it's the only story where I'm like, yeah, that feels like it's meant to be in the games. Um, I'm not really sure about a lot of my thoughts on a lot of FNAF tubers right now. You got if we're talking, are we talking theorists versus like? I don't get the too blurry between timelines concept. I mean, it's an adaptation. Why bother making Silver Eyes by that logic? Why bother making a movie by that logic? Silver Eyes literally tries to tell basically the FNAF story from another angle, from a fresh start. And it exists. So FNAF is clearly willing to try and tell the same general ideas and themes from a different angle. That's not to say everything from Silver Eyes happens after the games or from Batman Rights first. I'm just saying, like, that just happens. Like, that's going to be what the movie is, probably. And also, like, I Frightsverse and all that. It's one of those I feel like we have to get an answer eventually, right? I hate the debate of it. More than any individual idea being canon itself, I hate the idea that we don't know for a fact. That is the one thing that's really pissing me off about FNAF theorizing right now. Because, like, individual ideas, like, it goes both ways. There's kind of no you know what, I don't really actually feel it does go both ways. I don't know. FNAF is multimedia, but most of that media has been kept well defined in its own group, except for Frights and Tales. They're the only other than the Survival Logbook, we have our only other examples are things that aren't in the game continuity. No, I totally agree that Ritos shows that you can get 99% of the lore without the books. Anyway, I'm gonna end the stream here. I think I've been talking for enough. And the whole stitch line thing, we can go in circles forever. Anyway, I did 3 pages. I'll do another stream doing art coloring, because apparently I can get a lot of streams out of this. Goodbye. Bye.